Hey guys, Colin with Wapsie River at Hunting. Just wanted to jump on here and kind of explain myself a little bit better about a video I had posted. I think it was last week or a week ago, 2 weeks ago, something like that. I'm doing a trail camera here. About archery equipment, specifically tuning your bow and stuff. If you want to go to the extent of what Bomar and some of these other guys are doing, go for it. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong, because the only wrong that I know of when it comes to archery equipment is when you go and don't properly set your equipment up right. And what I mean by that is make sure that you go to your local archery shop or whatever, and if you're buying a bow or have a bow, it's always a good thing to always paper tune. Okay, one of the simplest forms to do to make sure your arrow's coming off the bow straight, and well, as straight as it can possibly be. Now, I only do the paper tuning with adjusting my rest and going that route. I don't twist cables, strings. I don't go into that extent. Okay, mainly because from my experience, I have had success with just paper tuning, shooting mechanicals or fixed blade, and having good results. Now, as you know, nothing's always perfect. Is it okay to try and get everything absolutely 100% perfect? Yes. Like I said, there's no wrong, no harm, no shame in doing all that. But if you're a guy like me that doesn't have the time, paper tuning works just as well. Like I said, I've had success with both fixed blade and mechanicals, just doing a simple paper tune and adjusting my rest to what the bow was already set at with its knocking point and everything else. But Bomar's got a video up about super tuning and stuff, and yeah, that's a lot of in-depth stuff and everything. If you, like I said, you want to go that route, go that route. Dudley's got a couple of really good videos about paper tuning. MFJJ, another good source. And there's plenty others out there that can tell you all about it. Like me personally, I don't go that route. And the old saying, if it's not broke, why fix it? And that's the philosophy that I am, as I'm getting up in age. I'm starting to realize that when I was younger, I used to tinker with stuff all the time when it came to archery equipment, and it cost me a lot of opportunities on deer. And like I said, as I got older, it just frustrated me to the point to where, I didn't want to do it as much anymore, because that meant less time for me out in the woods trying to kill something, hunt something down. So I just stuck with the old, hey, the bow's set up. I put my trust into a good archery shop. There's only a couple around here that I trust to do it right. And we paper tune and go from there. And that is it. And like I said, I can shoot most fixed blades on the market and most expendables on the market But there is one thing I do want to say though, is mosquitoes are bad. When you go to choose all that stuff, let's say you got your bow tuned, you got your bullet hole and everything. There is some aerodynamics that you do have to highly consider. And the bigger, and most people will agree with me on this, the bigger you got something on the back end, you got to have the capabilities of being able to steer it. So if you want to shoot a great big, 1.5 inch, 1.75 inch fixed blade, you've got to have longer vanes or feathers and a helical on there to help control the back end of that arrow, because the front end's going to want to steer it. Best thing, that the way I was explained, is when you screw on a fixed blade, you are screwing wings on the front end of your arrow and the back end of your arrow. Okay? That's just common sense. So when I go to choose a fixed blade, I like to shoot low profile ones. A lot of the fixed blades that I'll shoot are the Magnus and Montec broadheads, just to name off a couple. And I have really, really good results with those two. They've been in the business a long time, highly trust them. When it comes to mechanicals, I will say this, to the extent that I think Josh Bomar has come damn close to developing almost the perfect broadhead. I do think that if there was ever a broadhead company out there right now, why not everybody's wanting to go bigger, 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 bigger. I have yet to see, there's only one company that I know of that's got a small expandable broadhead, and that's Grim Reaper. They make a 75 grain, 1.25 inch cut 3-blade. Like I said, it's an over the top expandable. But why aren't other companies doing that? When you got shorter blades, they're harder to break, and a lot of times with those smaller blades and stuff, it takes less force to open it when designed right. Now, I've never had issues with Grim Reapers not deploying. I've never had issues with old school Rocket Wolverine broadheads. I thought those were the absolute best thing on the market for a long time. I shot those all the way up until last year. I ran out and now I can't find them. And that was a 75 grain broadhead. I don't know how many deer I shot with a 75 grain, 1.25 inch cut broadhead, and watched every deer fall in sight. Now, granted, that comes to a lot down to shot placement and shot selection, which I'll go into in another video at another time. But I'm just curious about it. I know you want to cause as much damage as possible, try and put the animal down quickly, yada, yada, yada. That's why Rage came out. That's why Bomar's done it. Okay. But why aren't broadhead companies looking smaller and 3 blades? Okay. G5 is darn close with their mega meats and the dead meat series. They're really close to being able to do that. I think with a couple different little design features, I think that those would be extremely good broadheads. I hear nothing but good things about them. I've shot them. Me personally, I don't like how far forward the blades are. If I do shoot a slightly quartering away shot, due to if that one blade catches beforehand, it can kick the arrow. That is one downfall of shooting an expandable broadhead, is being able to do that. But I know the technology's out there that somebody can design a good 3-blade 1.25 inch cut broadhead that is rear deploying or over the top, and make it to where there's less and less deflection. And like I said, Bowmar, I think, is almost right on top of it with what he's done. Now, there's other similar designs out there, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, I've heard the stories about what he might be possibly going through in the rumors, but hey, it works. He's shown it numerous time and time again. So, but that all comes down to damn bugs. It all comes down to making sure your equipment is set up right. You know, that's your knock set right for your D loop, your rest is right, your arrow's going, you know, coming straight off the bow, not coming off at goofy ass angles, none of that stuff. And in all honesty, there ain't a broadhead on the market that isn't going to kill deer. So, like I said, if you can just make sure paper tune, and I showed, you know, I do my practice for where I hunt. I mean, yeah, if I want to, I can take bomb shots if I want to. I'm not going to. My max that I like shooting deer at is about 35 yards. So I make sure that everything flies true out to 30, because that gives the arrow more than enough time to correct itself, and as long as it's flying straight, it's good enough for me. And I always go off of roughly about the size of a 10 ring on the scoring vitals of a whitetail deer. That's normally that 5, 6, 7 inch diameter circle. Okay, about the inside of a paper plate or whatever, or you know, those little paper plates that they use for cakes and stuff, you know, the little ones. That's what I like to use as a reference to make sure that I can hit every single time. And if I can do that, to me, like I said, because I'm out here, I'm wanting to fill tags, put meat in my freezer. That's good enough for me to be able to do. Now, if I'm going to go out west and possibly stretch my shot out to 40, 45, 50, 70 yards, then I'm going to still use that same concept, but then I will make sure to really fine tune everything and make sure it's even better. You know, I'll make sure that I have that perfect paper hole tune with a bear shaft, and make sure it's doing it with the fletchings. Make sure, you know, and if the fletchings are causing it, you know, I'll switch fletchings out until I get that. You know, the little things that I can do and change up. That's kind of my concept on what I do and how I do things. If you're a guy that just likes to go out, buy your stuff, screw a broadhead hunt and do it that way, and go with whatever the manufacturer put on the back end of that arrow for fletchings, great, that's awesome. You can do all that stuff. Like I said, you can tune a bow however you want to be able to do it. Okay? And most archery shops will be able to do it. You know, you can tell them, hey, don't mess with the way it is that I bought it. I just need to get it tuned in, and these are the arrows that I want to do. You know, that makes sure that, you know, you're shooting your right spine, they're cut right, yada, yada, yada. Okay? That's all, like I said, common sense stuff. And the more you do that, the more you're going to be successful in your hunts and stuff. Like I said, that's just what I do personally. I will do a video that goes over my setup on my arrow length, what I'm shooting, why I'm shooting it, and go from there. There's just so much to be able to dive into, and it's just a nasty rabbit hole, guys. And I'm just saying, if you don't want to, or don't have the time to, just keep things simple. Look it up on the internet, take it to your local shop, just do that sort of stuff. And I can't stress this enough, though: practice, 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 practice. You know, the more you practice, the better you'll be. and everything else. I'm sorry I'm getting a little distracted on this one, but I'm looking at one of my turkey blinds across the field that I was hunting out of, and right now, season's over here in Iowa, but I'm looking at 3 toms across the field that are literally standing within less than 30 yards of it. Just out there strutting, walking around, and eating the fresh corn that's starting to come up, eating the shoots and stuff. It's good that they're back. I'm happy, but that's how hunting goes sometimes. And it's also the blind that my son shot his turkey out of during Iowa's youth season back on that April 12th. I wasn't able to get footage of that, but anyways, some of the things that I live by during the off season is practice, 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 practice. Paper tune, make sure everything's right. Practice more. Make sure to practice with your broadheads, whether it's with a practice head or the actual ones, and resharpen them. And shot placement, and be patient through the whole process. And I promise, you do all those things, you'll have more opportunities. Now, I'm not saying you're going to be able to kill big deer, this, that, or anything else. You'll have more shot opportunities and be more successful in the field if you guys do those things. So, like I said, I'll do other videos that goes into detail with that stuff. Still also do kind of like the podcast thing on this as well. I'm meeting with Mason tomorrow morning, and damn bugs. But hopefully we can keep that going, and that's when hopefully I'll dive in a little bit more and show what I'm talking about. But if it's not this channel, there's many of them out there. Ralph and Vicky with Archer's Choice, they do things like this. John Dudley, MFJJ with Podium Archery. Tim Connor helps him out. He does his thing with that. Elk Shape, Bomars, you name it. They're all out there. There's a bunch of them out there. You guys can find them. You know, but me, I just like to do the simple things. Keep it simple, keep it easy, because I want to be able to spend as much time out here chasing deer, chasing turkeys, and hey, it's worked for me. And I don't know if I've got it in a couple of my shorts or not, but you know, I've got mounts to prove that simple is good and simple works. So till the next video, guys, I don't know what it'll be. It might be more on my plots that I'm doing, might be on hunting in general. I don't know. Stick around, find out. The way to do that, you gotta like, subscribe, share. Like I said, things are gonna be coming, new things. Like I said, I'm gonna try and do a lot better with the videoing and getting content out. I'm hoping that I can do an actual video with me and my buddies that I like to hunt with. Show you guys, you know, some of the things that we do in the off season with shooting local 3D tournaments around. Make sure you go out and support them, because I think that is some of the best practice that you can do, especially if you're not worried about score. You can make your own scenarios up inside the woods, outside the woods, whatever, and try and give it a real life scenario look. That's what we do. So like I said, hopefully I'll get some of those videos up. But like I said, like, subscribe, share, hit the notification button. I do know better things are coming for this. Help this channel grow, help my buddy Mason's channel grow, Wapsie River at Fishing. So We will be doing a giveaway. I don't know just yet. I'll work the details out with him on that tomorrow. But that'll be around the 4th of July, so help us grow, so that way you can hopefully get in on the deal. And one of those ways is leaving a comment of what you like, what you don't like, what you want to see, what you don't want to see. Any decent comment will get you entered. We'll pick a winner, maybe 2, maybe 3, don't know yet. So you guys do all that, and I will see you guys on the next one. Hunt hard and be safe and have fun.